dumb.
Another day, another starter deck upgrade. Today we're taking a look at the Orzhov Lifegain deck. Now this is a deck that Wizards decided to put together for us that has a theme of gaining life, keeping your life total really high, meaning above your starting life total, so that you could then get certain benefits from the creatures that you're playing. So let's take a look at the deck itself that we start off with. Then we can take a look at how we can upgrade the deck, and then we'll play a few games to see how it plays out. So let's go take a look. Okay, so this is the deck that the game starts us with. So what we can take a look at here is what the theme of this deck is. You can tell pretty early on that this deck is based around gaining life, because almost everything in the deck does exactly that. So you have Healer's Hawk, which is a 1/1 flying lifelink. You have Hinterland's Sanctifier, which is a 1/2 for 1 mana that gives you life whenever creatures come into play. You have Moment of Triumph, which is a combat trick that also gives you life. Johnny's Pridemate gets bigger when you gain life. Sunblessed Healer has Kicker to get back a creature from the graveyard and also has lifelink. Moment of Craving is a removal spell with a life gain portion to it. Sanguine Siphoner gives you life whenever you attack. Vengeful Blood Witch gives you life when you have creatures leave the battlefield. Then you have Cat Collector. Dazzling Angel is a 2/3 flying version of Hinterland's Sanctifier. We also have Inspiring Overseer. Comes in, gets you life, you draw a card. Tribute of Hunger is a sacrifice removal spell that has you gain life when the creature goes away, based off of their toughness. Phyrexian Arena, pretty good way to make use of all that life that you're gaining. I mean, because what's the point of gaining a bunch of life if you can't leverage it somehow? Vampire Nighthawk, Flying Deathtouch lifelink. Mortify, one of the only cards in the deck that doesn't directly gain you life, but it is a very versatile removal spell. It allows you to destroy any creature or enchantment for only 3 mana. It's a pretty good card. Then we have Twinblade Paladin. Now this is a perfect example of a card that wants you to be above your starting life total. So it has Double Strike if you have 25 or more health, and it gains a +1/+1 counter whenever you gain life. So it's pretty decent. Then we have Elenda, Saint of Dusk. Really cool card. One of my personal favorite cards out of Foundations. For 4 mana, you get a 4/4 lifelink and hexproof from Instance that says, as long as your life total is greater than your starting life total, Elenda gets +1/+1 and Menace. Elenda gets an additional +5/+5 as long as your life total is at least 10 greater than your starting life total. So if you get up to 30 health, then Elenda is suddenly a 10/10 with Menace. Pretty solid creature. And then we have Fiendish Panda, which is another 4-drop that is a 3/2 bear demon. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on the creature. When this creature dies, return another target non-bear creature card with mana value less than or equal to this creature's power from your graveyard to the battlefield. Now, clearly, there aren't a whole lot of bears going around that this is going to matter. I think the reason why they put non-bear on this card is to prevent you from cycling 2 copies of the same Fiendish Panda over and over and over. So that makes sense to me. So now you kind of see what the theme of the deck is it's gain life, maintain a healthy life total, be bigger than your opponents in your life total and your creature's power and toughness, and just kind of overwhelm them with better creature quality. So that's kind of the foundation of this deck. So let's see what we can do to improve upon this strategy. Okay, so here is my upgraded version of the deck. Now, the mana base is completely untouched. I did not need to make a whole lot of modifications to the mana base because it looks pretty good as is. It's 10 plains, 10 swamps, 4 scoured barrens, and a Temple of Silence. So that gives you 25 lands. It's okay. The real thing here is the scoured barrens. I really didn't want to remove this card because it's a land that gives you life when it comes into play. And there are some situations where that 1 point of life is actually very important in your sequencing. And we'll go over that in a moment. So Healer's Hawk, I like this as a 1-drop, so I kept this. I actually added the count up to a 3 of. Same thing with Hinterland Sanctifier is a really good 1-drop, so I want to run 3 of those as well. Next up, Ajoni's Pridemate is a decent mid-game beater, so I think having 2 of those is okay. Moment of Craving, I went up to a 3 of. You may notice that I removed the white combat trick from the deck because I don't really think you need it in a deck like this. A lot of the times, this deck will win without you needing to swing, because there's a combo in this deck that will just instant win for you if you have the right combination of permanents on the table. So Moment of Craving is still good because it is a decent removal spell and gains you life. We added Elos Ilkor into the deck because this is a deck perfect for this creature. It's a Death Touch 2/2 for a white and a black, and whenever another creature you control enters, you gain 1 life. Same effect as the Hinterland Sanctifier. But it also has another effect of whenever another creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life. So you get to gain or drain life totals from your opponent based off of what's happening on the battlefield. And I wanted to have this in the deck rather than the 2/3 Flying Angel that has a similar effect to Hinterland Sanctifier, just because 1, it costs 1 less to put onto the table, it has Death Touch, which is relevant, and it has 2 very relevant abilities to this deck. So Elos Ilkor comes in. Next up, the Angel Vitality is a pretty decent creature, and also really wants you to have a healthy life total. It's a 2/2 with flying for 3 mana. If you would gain life, you gain that much life plus 1 instead. So every time you gain 1 life, you gain 2 life. Every time you gain 3 life, you gain 4 life. So it's a good, we'll call it a force multiplier. This creature gets +2/+2 as long as you have 25 or more life. So again, it wants you to have a high life total. It just gets better the healthier you are. Now, we're also running this card right here. It's called Marauding Blight Priest. It's another reprint that came in from Foundations. It's a 3/2 for 3 mana that reads, whenever you gain life, each opponent loses 1 life. So you gain a life, your opponent loses a life. Now, this isn't a 1-for-1 thing, though. It's just, it triggers whenever you gain any amount of life. So if you gain 3 life, your opponent still only loses 1 life. But that is not nearly as important as it is when it works with the combo, and we'll go over that in just a moment. Next up, Tribute to Hunger. I moved that to a 2 of. I think it's a pretty decent removal spell in certain matchups, and also gives you some life gain. Phyrexian Arena, I went up to a 2 of on this as well, because I really like being able to leverage my life gain by drawing more cards. And sometimes having that extra card draw over a long period of time is really, really good and helps you win games. Next up, we have Exemplar of Light. It's another new card in Foundations. It is a 3/3 flyer for 4 mana, and it reads, whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Whenever you put 1 or more +1/+1 counters on this creature, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. So if you play Exemplar of Light while you have either Elos Ilkor or Hinterland Sanctifier on the table already, it will immediately get a +1/+1 counter, and you get to draw a card. So 4 mana for a 4/4 flyer that draws you a card immediately, pretty good. So it definitely fits the theme for this deck. Now, we also have Enduring Tenacity. I'm only running 1 Enduring Tenacity because we already have 3 Marauding Blight Priests in the deck, and they both do a similar thing. So this card reads, 4/3 Snake Glimmer. Whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. When Enduring Tenacity dies, if it was a creature, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. It's an enchantment. So this creature survives board wipes. Not as a creature, but it comes back as an enchantment. So you still get the very important effect of draining your opponent whenever you gain life. Now, the difference here is this one actually does drain your opponent for the full amount that you gain. So if you hit in with Elenda for like 4 or 5 damage, with lifelink, Enduring Tenacity will effectively double that damage, because you'll gain 4 life, your opponent loses an additional 4 life because the Enduring Tenacity is on the table, as opposed to the Marauding Blight Priest, which will only trigger 1 additional life loss. Speaking of Elenda, we moved her up to a 3-of because she's just a really good card for this deck, especially with that hexproof from instance, makes her very difficult to remove. Now, here's a new card that we added in, and this is the combo piece right here. This is Bloodthirsty Conqueror. 3 colorless and 2 black for a 5/5 flying death touch. Whenever an opponent loses life, you gain that much life. Damage causes loss of life. So, here's how the combo works. You have a Hinterland Sanctifier or Elasil Core on the table already. You have Marauding Blight Priest or Enduring Tenacity on the table. You play Bloodthirsty Conqueror. Bloodthirsty Conqueror comes in, Elos or Hinterland Sanctifier triggers life gain. Enduring Tenacity or Marauding Blight Priest triggers life loss. Bloodthirsty Conqueror reads, whenever an opponent loses life, you gain that much life. So this causes a loop that just goes on and on and on until the opponent dies. And it is a very effective method of removing an opponent without even having to attack. So it's a really, really cool card. It's very easy to disrupt, mind you. So like when you play this, have a game plan in mind, because like if your opponent either counterspells the Bloodthirsty Conqueror or removes one of your combo pieces when you play it, then that's going to negate the entire combo. But a good thing with this deck is this deck does not need the combo to go off in order to win, because this deck also functions as a totally reasonable mid-range deck with cards like Elenda, Exemplar of Light, Angel of Vitality, and just the incidental life loss when it comes to things like Elasil Core and Marauding Blight Priest. It's like you have a lot of really good ways to win the game without needing the combo. However, if you get the combo to go off, it's really fun to just watch your opponent sit there and squirm while you slowly drain their life away. It's a really fun combo. And last card in the deck is Virtue of Persistence, because it's a really solid removal spell in the early game and a great reanimation tool in the late game. So that's why that's here. And that's the deck. So now that you have a firm understanding of how this deck works, let's go take it out for a few games, see it in action, and I will see you at the back end of this video. Okay, so we have 4 lands, 2 Scoured Barrens, 2 Swamps. We have an Elos, an Elenda, and a Bloodthirsty. I'll keep it. Alright, first land of the game will be a Scoured Barrens. Gain a life. Okay, they play a Yavimaya Coast. Bushwhack. Search library for a land. It's a forest. Alright, I'm going to go Swamp and play Elasil Core. Opponent plays an island into a Picklock Prankster. They're going to mill 4 cards. Probably get back a Slime Against Humanity. I didn't think I'd be seeing a slime deck today. Yep, get back that slime. Alright, let's go ahead and play Swamp, and then I will play Phyrexian Arena. Get some card draw going. Deck for 2. One plays a Forest. Plays a Slime. Slime is a 4/4. Alright, draw a card. Let's go ahead and play this Swamp, and then I will play an Elenda. Gain a life. Elenda becomes a 5/5. No attacks. Mocking Sprite comes in. It's a 2/1. Reduces the casting cost of instant and sorcery spells by 1. Okay, very cool. So let's go ahead and play... let's not play that just yet. Let's play Enduring Tenacity. Alright, Tenacity comes in. Gain a life, lose a life. Then we go... do we want to attack with Elenda just yet? I don't know. If we do clear their board. So yeah, I think I will attack with Elenda. Well, that is if they choose to block. They're thinking about it. Yes, I could see you are thinking. Alright. Take some damage, and they lose some life. That was a 10-point swing because of Enduring Tenacity. Traxxas Fall. Okay, they destroy my enchantment. It comes back as an enchantment. And they lose a life in the process thanks to Elas Hilkor. They play another Slime Against Humanity. Now, if they let me cast that Bloodthirsty Conqueror, that's just going to be game. Oh, never mind. Never mind. That changes things. Okay. Now I'm going to need a way to gain a life. Elenda will be that way, because they're now tapped out. Yeah, I'm going to take 2 damage. Draw a card, lose a life. Draw a card, return. Alright, Bloodthirsty Conqueror comes in. Attack with Elenda. He knows this game over no matter what. Good game, friend. Good game. Okay, so we get to go first. We have a Plains and 2 Swamps, Elenda, Exemplar, Moment of Craving, and Enduring Tenacity. I will keep. Alright, first turn, play Plains. Run a Blaze of Forest into Insidious Fungus. What's that do? You can sacrifice it to destroy an artifact, an enchantment, or draw a card. Then put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. Alright, very cool. I will go Swamp. Next, end turn. Okay, opponent plays a second Forest. They play Up the Beanstalk. Cool, so they get to draw a card. Pass. Attack with a Fungus. I'll take a Moment for Cravings. Oh, that's a cool animation. Puts little fangs on him. Alright, next turn we'll play this and play a Hinterland Sanctifier. About 2 turns too late, but it's okay. You got here when you got here. Okay, they play a Forest. I will play this Plains. Now we can do Enduring Tenacity, or we can do Exemplar, or we can do Elenda. I think we'll go with Elenda first. Gain a life for our troubles. Attack for 1. Wildborn Preserver, huh? Okay, that's cool. Dies. Thankfully we have Hexproof from Incense, so they can't really fight us, unless they have a sorcery speed fight. Okay, Wildborn Preserver is just a little bit bigger now, as Ward 1. So, we can nuke it. I think we'll nuke it, yeah. Actually, no. They have an untapped forest. So that could be a little scary. Let's see. Tell you what. We will play Exemplar of Light because our little Elenda has Menace and can't be blocked. Alright. So we gain some life, draw a card, +1 counter on the Exemplar, play an extra land. Alright, they play a Forest into Overlord of the Hauntwoods. They draw a card from Up the Beanstalk. Oh, and they're playing it as a creature. Okay, so let's go ahead and play... Let's see. So we have Bloodthirsty Conqueror. We don't have the full combo out yet, though. So let's start with the Enduring Tenacity. I'm actually not going to play that land just yet, because I want to use the land to trigger Bloodthirsty Conqueror next turn. So, what we will do is... we can attack for 4, and they'll block with the Preserver, probably. If we attack with Elenda, they'll definitely block both against Elenda. So I think we'll just attack with the Exemplar. Okay, they take the damage. End turn. Let's see what they do with their turn here. Gruff Triplets. Okay, that's interesting. So they draw a card off of it. Make a whole bunch of dudes. They don't have the mana to pay for the Preserver, though. Put a +1 on the Preserver. Okay, so this is our opportunity. So we play Bloodthirsty Conqueror. And then we are going to play Scoured Barrens and gain 1 life. Yeah. Yep. That's how it works. You play a life gain land and win the game. Okay, so we get to go first this time. We have a Scoured Barrens, Temple of Silence, Swamp. We also have Saint Elenda, or Elenda Saint of Dusk, Bloodthirsty Conqueror, and 2 Virtues. I'll keep it. Like our opponent may be choosing a mulligan. Yeah, so they took one mulligan. I'm going to play Temple of Silence first and Scry. I'll keep it just to have a little bit extra lands. I'm going to place a Fabled Passage. Gonna go get a land. And that land is Forest. Very cool. Let's see. Let's go and play Plains. Nothing to do with that Plains yet. Island, okay. Let's go Swamp and play Angel Vitality. It lands, very good. We play Forest into Clifftop Lookout. Okay. I am going... we can play Phyrexian Arena. Let's attack first. Okay, they block. Perfect. I'm going to play the Phyrexian Arena right now. And then I'll play a Scoured Barrens. Gain a life. No, gain 2 life, actually. Because the Angel Vitality gives you bonus life gain. Shale Dread, huh? Okay. That's gonna hurt me a bit. Alright, land, Healer's Hawk. Very cool. Let's go ahead and play Plains. And let's see here. I could Virtue twice if I wanted to. That feels like a little bit of a waste. However, they are tapped out at the moment. So let's go ahead and do that. -3. Again. I'll play a Healer's Hawk. Attack for 2. Okay, play a Fabled Passage. Sacrifice it to go get another land. This time it will come into play untapped. Swamp. Massacre Worm. Nice move. Okay. Ooh, cool animation too. I like that. Okay, lose some life. Draw a card. Draw a card. Alright. Let's go ahead and play Swamp, and then we'll play Bloodthirsty Conqueror. We're almost at enough mana for the reanimation side of the spell. Okay, Alenda's gone. Block that. Draw a card. Very cool. Alright, let's go and play this Plains and play Virtue. Okay, they search the library for a card, lose 3 life. Okay. They play Sheldred. Mosswood Dread Knight. Alright, my turn. I could get Massacre Worm, that'd be pretty cool. What's in my graveyard? Bloodthirsty. Yeah, I'm gonna take your Massacre Worm. Ooh, Rotting Blight Priest, that's pretty good. And Sadistic Pilgrim, nice. Alright, so let's go Swamp first. Then we're going to go Elos. And then we'll go Marauding Blight Priest. And Hinterland's Sanctifier. Okay, now they get to take a creature card and put it into play on their side. Yeah, that's what I would choose too. Because he doesn't want me bringing that back with Virtue. Mouse of Dread Knight, of course. Creature. And Moss of Dread Knight. Alright, my turn. I'll take your Sheldred. Okay, you're gonna lose some life now. Yep. Okay, so let's see here. We play Angel. We also play Virtue. Do you have anything left in your graveyard worth taking? What about my graveyard? I do have some creatures still, so I guess we will just play the other Virtue right now. And then I'm going to attack. I'm going to attack with the Massacre Worm, honestly. Block there. They both kill each other. Oh, another cruelty, huh? Okay, so he's gonna go right for the Massacre Worm. Yeah. Yep. That's game. GG. Okay, so we happen to be going second. Opponent goes first this time. We have 2 lands. They're both Scarab Barons. Not the best. But we do have Moment of Craving, Marauding Blight Priest, Phyrexian Arena, and 2 Conquerors. It's a little risky, but I think I'll keep it. Okay, opponent plays an island. I will play Scoured Barrens. Gain 1 life. Pass the turn. Okay, opponent plays Opt. Great card. Second island. So we're up against a counterspell deck. Not the best. Let's play a second Scoured Barrens. Third island. Okay, looks like they don't do anything, so we will do something here, and we will play an Angel Vitality. See if they take the bait on the counterspell. They do. Alright, 4th island. They play Chart a Course. Draw 2 cards, then discard a card unless you attacked. No creatures, so they discard a card. And they play Jace Reawakened. Okay. You're gonna plot a card? Yeah, they're gonna plot a mana value 3 or less card. And that card was Kaido. Interesting. Alright, so let's go and play a Swamp. Perfect. Then I will play a Marauding Blight Priest. They play their 5th island of the game and play Kaido for free.
You better give me a challenge.
Draw a card, then discard. It's pretty cool being able to plot a Planeswalker. Okay, so they discard Deduce. I'm mulling over their options, I see. Okay, so they put a Ninja on the table. And then put a Freeze in place on the Marauding Blight Priest. Okay, next turn. Let's see, I'm going to play a Phyrexian Arena and see if they can counter it. Looks like they either chose not to counter it or didn't have the appropriate counterspell for it. Draw a card, discard. Even if it's just fishing, it's a pretty decent draw. Okay, makes this creature unblockable. Draw a card and discard. Okay, attack for 2.
Cool tech, right?
And they chart a course. Draw 2 cards, discard. Well, actually, not discard this time because they attacked. I pay a life to draw an extra card. Hint One Sanctifier and Tribute to Hunger. Okay, so I'm going to play Hint One Sanctifier. Looks like they're choosing. Okay, they play an Opt. That's interesting. Okay, they scried 1 away, took the top card. Okay, they play it. Very cool. Let's see here. So, second card. I'm going to play a Moment of Craving right now. What do they do? Unsummon the Sanctifier. Okay. And then they cast Opt. Okay. So they fully tap out. Find the card they want. I gain 2 life. They lose a life. I play Hinterland Sanctifier. Alright, 6th island of the game from our friend over there. Play Overlord of the Flood Pits. What does that do? Whenever Overlord enters or attacks, draw 2 cards, then discard a card. Okay. Play Tolarian Terror. Alright. So I really need to draw a land next turn now that they're tapped out. Okay, what did they plot? They plotted Geralf. And they target their Overlord to draw another card. They're drawing so many cards over there. Alright. Land, this is Scarred Barrens, and a Swamp. Perfect, that's what I needed. So we're going to play Swamp and Bloodthirsty Conqueror. Gain life. We're going to do this thing for a moment here. Thank you for tapping out, by the way. I really appreciate that. Man, it just keeps on going. Look at that. Isn't that cool? And all because of a bunny. That combo's so dumb. Welcome back for the post-game wrap-up. And this deck, of all the starter decks that I've played, that came out with Foundations and the most recent rotation starter decks, this is the one that feels the most like a real competitive deck. This deck is really fun. Whether you get the combo or not, it is a really solid deck. And the fun thing here is this deck is still operating under our budget of 15 rares. Count them up real quick. We have, where are they at? Okay, here. Phyrexian Arena, that's 2. So you got 2 rares so far. Exemplar of Light, that's 5. Tenacity is 6. Elenda, 7, 8, 9. Bloodthirsty Conqueror, 10, 11, 12. Virtue, 13, 14. And Temple of Silence, 15. That's only 15 rares, which falls under our usual budget of how I like to do these starter deck upgrades. And it works. It works really well. I will probably take this deck and do a fully upgraded version of it, just because I love how this deck plays. It is really fun and really powerful. So let's talk about our MVPs and cards that we might want to swap out. So MVPs are absolutely the combo pieces. Hinterland Sanctifier, Elas Ilkor, Marauding Blight Priest, Enduring Tenacity, and Bloodthirsty Conqueror. All really solid cards when they work in conjunction with each other, and also pretty decent on their own. Like, Elas Ilkor is a great 2-drop. Marauding Blight Priest fits the theme of this deck perfectly. Same thing with Enduring Tenacity, especially because it can survive certain board wipes. And Bloodthirsty Conqueror has a 5/5 Flying Death Touch for 5 mana. Is really good. It's a good flying beater. Elenda, a fantastic card for this deck. Even when you're not doing your combo, it's just a really solid card. Exemplar of Light, really solid angel, gets bigger when you gain life, draws you cards, really solid. As far as cards that I would want to probably rethink, the removal package is a little bit lacking. Because of the fact that they have life gain portions to them, there are certain concessions that these spells require. And Moment of Craving, because it's an instant and it gains you life, it's not a very universal removal spell. It only gives -2/-2, and it also costs 2 to cast. And there are a lot of better removal spells like Go for the Throat, Shoot the Sheriff, Sheoldred's Edict that would very likely take the place of this card. The fact that it gains you life, that's pretty much the only real reason it's in this deck. Same thing with Tribute to Hunger. I would probably feel better swapping this out for either a couple copies of Liliana or a couple copies of Sheoldred's Edict. It's a decent card on its own, but it's a little expensive for what it does. And there are better ways to gain life already in the deck. Aside from that, I would probably look at removing Ajani's Pridemate for more removal, because he's a decent card, but he's not really necessary for winning a game. So I would probably trim the numbers a little bit on a few other cards and go all in on the combo with this deck. And add a few more removal, maybe add in a couple protection pieces to make sure your combo pieces don't die, and fix up the mana base a little bit. Add some better dual lands in, give us a man land or two. It's like, I think this deck has real good potential, and I really want to fully upgrade this deck and just keep playing it. I mean, it's so much fun to play. It really is. So that's going to be it for this video. I will leave a link to the deck list in the description box down below so you can try this out yourself and maybe iterate on it further yourself and make it your own. So until next time, take care of yourselves.